Hi, my name is Jeffrey and my serial number is 4189456, and this is my demonstration for Assessment 3 Online Lab Design Question 2. So first thing I did was make sure Suricata had the latest detection rules. So I already ran the sudo Suricata update, which pulls the newest emerging threats rule set. And then once that was done, I ran Suricata against the KiCad file in offline replay mode. So yeah, you can see it's already processed the entire capture, and then this generated our main output file, which is the if.json, which contains every event Suricata detected in structured JSON format. So now the first thing I wanted to know was what kinds of alerts this Suricata actually fires. So I ran this. So yep. So what this does is basically pulls out only alert records, and then the .alert.signature extracts the signature name, and then I'm sorting and counting them so I can see which fired the most. And straight away I can see we've got like 70 hits for Crackbot, and it's 48 DNS invalid authorities, and a couple of others, including an executable file download over HTTP. And then my first hypothesis was that the host downloaded a malware payload disguised as a legitimate file. So the exe and also the exe only fired once each, but they're really significant because they mean like an executable was transferred over an encrypted HTTP, which is a classic malware delivery technique. So I extracted those alerts, and I pulled the timestamp and hostname and URL from those alerts. So we can actually see that both alerts are pointing to 444.png from alphaenergyinc.com, and despite the .png extension, the content matched Windows executable signature, so the file is disguised as an image. To get the full picture, I queried the HTTP events directly for both suspicious domains. So we can actually see like around time the 9312.zip was downloaded from butner.com, and then around 68 seconds later 4444.png was fetched from alphaenergyinc.com. But the user agent this time is just called Haskell. So Haskell is basically a well-known IOC for the Ursnif and Gozi malware families. It means the second request wasn't made by a human. It was just made automatically by the malware that was extracted from that zip file. And then I confirmed this through Suricata's file info records. So yep, we can see that the both files were received confirmed, and from basically any.run sandbox report, 9312.zip is basically a known copeboat loader. So hypothesis 1 is confirmed, and the host downloaded like Cacboat payload disguised as a PNG file. And that brings me to hypothesis 2, that the infected host then started beaconing to a remote C2 server. The 70 Quackboat GA3 hash alerts were the main driver here. GA3 fingerprints TLS handshakes matching against the abuse CH database means the traffic pattern is consistent with Cacboat. So I extracted those alerts and then checked source and destination IP. Yep, we can see that all 70 connections came from one internal host, which is this IP, and then every single one of them went to the same external IP, which is this one, and then I verified against the try.h Cacboat analysis here. Then it shows that it's listed as a confirmed Cacboat C2 server. Then I looked at the timeline. So beaconing actually starts at around 3:49, about 17 minutes after the payload download, and the last alert fires at around like 6:21. So that's like 2.5 hours of persistent C2 communication at regular intervals. So that's like not normal user behavior, and I confirmed that it's a malware heartbeat. So hypothesis 2 confirmed. So we're moving on to the last hypothesis, which is about the 48 DNS invalid authorities alerts. So I suspected these were tied to the Cacboat performing reverse DNS lookups on the IPs it had connected to, which is documented behavior for this malware. So I extracted like those alerts, and then I checked the IPs as well. Yep, we can see that the source is this one, and that's the local DNS resolver, and destination is this IP, the infected host. And then I look at the timelines as well. Yep, looking at the timeline, we can see that actually the first alert starts at like 3:50, just 64 seconds after the C2 beaconing started. Then I inspected the actual alert structure. So yep, this shows that the host is actually querying for this one. That's a PTR reverse DNS lookup. Reverse the notation, you actually get like 173.66 and etc. An actual IP the host had contacted. This is capable doing post-infection like reconnaissance. So my hypothesis 3 confirmed. So to summarize, all of 3 hypotheses is confirmed. In terms of response, the host should be isolated immediately, and then the C2 IP and delivery domains blocked at the firewall, and then the machine reimaged rather than cleaned in their place, since Cacboat is built to persist. So that's all for my demonstration. Thanks for watching.